Hey guys, Nick the Record Lover here. It is Sunday, November 17th, 2024. And I'm going to talk about one of my favorite Capitol albums by the Beatles, released in June of 1965. And it's Beatles 6. This is one of my favorite Capitol albums. In fact, my favorite Capitol album that came out in the United States. I remember getting this record in full dimensional stereo in Christmas of 1984, because I just got a brand new stereo then too, and I played that one to the nth degree. So that one has been long gone, but I have accrued quite a number of copies of this album over the years, and I have to say it's my favorite. I'll tell you why. I mean, look at the collection of songs you got. You got "You Like Me Too Much," which is one of George's best songs, I think. Very underrated song, very nice song, very lovely song that he wrote. I always love singing along to that one. And you got "Tell Me What You See," which is another one. And a lot of these tracks wound up on the English Help album, which came out 2 months after this. So sometimes America did get its own. America sometimes got some of the tracks before England did. So it depends. Yesterday and today had some tracks in June before they got them in August on the Revolver album in the UK. And on here we've got Bad Boy, which was only available on a great collection of Beatles oldies but goldies in the UK, December of 1966. Dizzy Miss Lizzie, which wound up on the Help album, but it wound up here earlier. And 8 Days a Week, classic. Yes, It Is, which was the B side of Ticket to Ride in the United States. Words of Love, that's the Buddy Holly tune. And this is the first version I heard was the Beatles with George Harrison on 12-string guitar. And the percussion you hear on it is actually uh, Ringo playing a suitcase. And I think that's probably the way it was played on but the Buddy Holly version. I don't want to spoil the party, which was the B side of 8 Days a Week in the United States. Every Little Thing, one of my favorite songs by the Beatles. Such a wonderful song John and Paul wrote. Actually, I love the vocals. I love the words to it. I love the timpani that they play on every beat. Every little thing she does, boom boom, she does for me, yeah. And What You're Doing. That's kind of like with Ringo's drums in the beginning. They're trying to sound like that Phil Spector. Doom, 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 doom. But I have quite a number of copies of this, and it's Beatles 6. And I said, you know what? Why not try to find 6 copies of this in my collection? Henceforth, the title Beatles 6. And I did. So I'm going to share with you some of the copies that I have and the variations that I have of this record. And this was the 6th album technically for Capitol Records in the 60s, because not counting the A Hard Day's Night soundtrack, which came out on United Artists in America, not Capitol in 1964. A Hard Day's Night was reissued on Capitol Records later on, in the I would say the late 70s. Early in the 80s, it was always on Capitol. And The Beatles Story was another one that counted as a Capitol album, even though that was a documentary record. There's no music on that, just snippets of Beatles songs and interviews and things like that. But Beatles 6, this one is a stereo copy without the Gold Record Award. And this particular copy is on Apple, the Apple label. And it says manufactured by Apple. So this is most likely a 1971 copy manufactured by Apple. And it's in stereo. It is in new improved full dimension. It is in true stereo, except for Yes It Is, which is kind of like dual phonic stereo, kind of like fake stereo for that track. So now this copy on the back doesn't say this stereo record should be played with a stereo cartridge and needle to avoid damage, because by 1971, there weren't many mono records anymore. So it's possibly you could have played this on a mono a phonograph, because some of the late 60s albums did say playable on stereo and mono phonographs. Yes, Yellow Submarine was a soundtrack that said it on the back. That one was on Apple, and it said stereo, playable on stereo and mono phonographs. This one here is a mono copy from 1965. And here's the insert, here's the sleeve. So I would say that this is an early press because the early Beatles is mentioned on here, and the early Beatles came out in March of 1965, and this came out in June. So this would say one side you got like the teen albums that were available at the time, like Beatles 65, The Beach Boys Today, Is It Love by Cilla Black, Beach Boys Concert, and the early Beatles. Now on the back of this one, now see on the other one I just showed you, the songs are in order. This one says C label for correct playing order. The songs here are not in the correct order, side one and side two. This one that I just showed you has the songs in correct playable order. It starts with Kansas City and then ends with Every Little Thing on side two. So that's that copy. And put the, always great to get them with the Capitol sleeves inside. You know, I always love that. And you want to know how much those records were back then. And here's another mono copy. Is this a mono copy? I'm sorry, I put this back in the wrong thing. All right. So this one is a C label for correct playing order one. Now, what's interesting is the ones I'm going to keep showing you. Here's a mono one in shrink wrap with the same sleeve inside. And somebody threw in a picture of John Lennon. So this is also a C label for correct playing order. This was in a mono one as well. Yeah, that's a mono one as well. I was very lucky to get this in shrink wrap and mono. It's not easy to get them in shrink wrap. Only this one didn't come with a Capitol sleeve. Here's the rainbow label from 1965. So that's that one. I had to say I paid about $8 for that. I mean, good luck trying to pay that for this now, because records for right now, I would say, are very overpriced. That's just fact. And it's a little this one also, I'm sorry, this one did come with this. So that's a mono copy. Here's a stereo copy with C label for correct playing order, but this is a later pressing because it doesn't say this stereo record should be played with a stereo needle and cartridge to avoid damage. This has C label for correct playing order on the back, and it doesn't have the gold record seal yet anyway. And this is a 1968, maybe even 69, I would say 68, rainbow label Beatles VI. It's from a different pressing plant because the stereo and the number one has a tail on it, as you can see, and stereo is also written thinner. And on the bottom, it says manufactured by Capitol Records Incorporated, a subsidiary of Capitol Industries Incorporated. So what happened is that they used sometimes they just used, it wasn't a, it wasn't a, just a, what's the word I'm looking for, that a leftover cover, a leftover cover that just had, that they just put the C label for correct playing order on, because if it was, it would say that. They specifically used this without the stereo message at the bottom, and see, ST2358. So I'm saying this is a 1968-69 album. Oh, I got something here from Uncle Paul's Beatles Pop Playhouse. Very informative. Cheers from the Playhouse. Thanks, Uncle Paul. I appreciate you showing up. I'll put that in and say thank you for showing up. That's really nice. It's really nice when you do a video like this and you get people who watch it and give you some feedback, which is really cool. Thank you, Uncle Paul. Double exclamation point. And he gave me a clap too. Thanks for the clap, Uncle. Appreciate it. More to come. More to come. Let's see. And another one here. We have another Beatles VI. C label for correct playing order. Mono. Mono Capitol. The Capitol sleeve inside was different though. Another just this is with Capitol records going all around the sleeve, which sometimes it was released like that in the United States. I kept it, for posterity. Posterity. I always get that word mixed up. It's so funny. And yeah, this is also a C label for correct playing order. I would say they're kind of common. The ones that say C label for correct playing order. So the ones in stereo, there are ones that are in stereo from '65 that have the same thing. And okay, so that was, how many did I show you? 1, 2. Oh, let me put one back here. Whoop, whoop, whoop. First things first. Gotta put it back in the outer sleeve. If anybody is using poly sleeves for their LPs, which I highly recommend that you do, I did just score 25 of them on eBay, free shipping for $8.99, and with tax it came to $9.53. So if you need 50, if you need 100, if you really go through that much, that's okay too. But I went for 25 this time around for $8.99, and you can't go wrong with that, because sometimes I run out of them before I run out of the inner ones. But let's see, I should 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 I showed you, but I'm throwing in a bonus because 2 weeks ago I found. Oh, did I show you the wrong one? Oh, then what did I do with the one that I wanted to show you? Oh my goodness. Oh, this one is a 16. Oh, another stereo one with the Gold Record Award. Now, some of these had them and some of them didn't yet. This is a stereo subsidiary of Capitol Industries, and stereo is written very small, and the one is very big, side 1 and side 2. Now, this is a different pressing plant. I mean, I know a guy that collects Capitol albums. He's got so many sealed copies of every Capitol album. He's in a vinyl record club, and he's got sealed copies of Beatle records on Capitol with virtually every label: green, apple, red, purple, orange, almost every pressing plant that they came out on. So these are few of these are different pressing plants. Some of them might be West Coast, especially the ones that are small and thin. Okay, so this one is another Capitol. I would say 68, maybe 69, but I would go more for 68 than 69, because at 69 you saw more of them on that plain green label with the black C and the record in the middle. I'm sorry, no, that's wrong. The purple C and the record in the middle. At the Capitol with the black record with the dot in the middle. Okay, now I'm going to show you the Peace Day Resistance. This is it. So that's 6 Beatles 6s. Here is a bonus. This I got a couple of weeks ago down at one of my favorite record stores. Beatles 6, Gold Record Award, full dimensional stereo, correct song order on the back, sealed. And it has the complete file under the Beatles, ST2358, Gold Record Award. And it says this stereo record should be played with a stereo cartridge and needle to avoid damage. Okay. And at the bottom, it has all the albums that were available at that time. Now this one has a number of 18. Okay, for the Record Industry Association of America. Number 18. That's the pressing plant. The other ones were 12s, 16s, 8s. But This one is an 18. And I was told by my friend at the record shop, and I got this for a pretty decent price. Okay. Um, he said that this record came in. He probably figured, he said this might be a late 70s, 80s copy. I don't think it's an 80s copy, because 80s copies, I remember, you couldn't even see this on the top. It might have been, this would be more over it, and maybe you could see part of the black dot. But he said that it came from a Capitol Records employee in the 70s. So I did see another album on eBay, another Capitol Beatles album on eBay, sealed, and it wasn't this, but it was a number 18 at the bottom. So he said that a number 18, I think it might have been Something New, the Something New album. I think it could have been, because there was a Something New that was on the record club, ST82108, and that guy wants $700 for that record. It's a sealed record club copy, but to each his own. But this one, I would say this is Apple. I would say this is the last batch of Apple pressings, because that's what he said. And because he said it was the late 70s. I mean, if this is an 18 at the bottom, I would say this is an Apple. I would say this is a 1975 manufactured by Apple, all rights reserved label, because that was the last year that Apple Records released Beatles albums or reissued Beatles albums. Okay. If you have a manufactured by Apple, all rights reserved, those go for a pretty good amount of money. I did get a Hey Jude like that with all rights reserved, and it was about $10. And even the center hole wasn't even completely scented, but it was a Hey Jude, not the Beatles again. It was Hey Jude by that point. Or some copies were the Beatles again, some copies were Hey Jude. You guys know all about that if you're big Beatles fans. But being that this is an 18, I would think that this is a 1975 based on that listing on eBay. It wasn't this, like I said, I think it was Something New, the Beatles the 1964 album. And I think that this is a 1975 Apple. I would think so. I mean, it has the gold record award. It has the border at the top, ST2358. On the back, it said the stereo record. I think they started putting that on the back later on, because there were no more mono phonographs in the 70s. I mean, unless you had them left over. Nobody was making them. But so I would say that this is a 1975 Apple. So that's the pièce de résistance. The only sealed Beatle records I have this, and I have a Rubber Soul sealed. And it had a number, oh God, I think it had a number 16, or was it a 12? I think it was a number 12, and it was sealed. And then I found out that it was an Apple, because I found one opened in my collection, a Rubber Soul with the number 12 on the back, the new improved full dimensional stereo ST2442 with the two guys seal, the record store seal on the top, and the price was $597. So if that was an Apple copy, you figure that's maybe 1971, because it just says manufactured by Apple Records Incorporated. So you figure that could be 1971, maybe up until 1973. So those are the copies of Beatles 6 that I have, and I'm so glad that I found the sealed one. I mean, it really, really makes the collection. I mean, that's only 2 Beatles albums that I have that are sealed. Possibly Apple Beatles 6 and an Apple Rubber Soul. I know that's an Apple one that I bought. Let's see, what else do I have here? What do I got? What is Uncle Paul's Beatle? Let me move this closer to me so I can see. I don't got my glasses on. America's Best, by the way. Completely recommend them. Shameless plug. But anyway, I digressed. Uncle Paul says, thank you. Sure, wasn't sure you were live. I am live. I am right here. I am here. I am live. I am in the now. Uncle Paul says, my main copy of Beatles 6 is a mono with original inner sleeve. That's great. Yeah, that's a good one to have. Now, Uncle Paul, does that have the what do you call seal label for correct playing order on it? If you could hear what I'm saying, does it have seal label for correct playing order, or does it have the regular list of songs in the right order? You could put that here. Yes. Okay. Good. Okay, that's good. How's the condition of it? How's it look? Does it play well? Is it shrink wrap or just good condition, or have you had it since '65? Uncle Paul's Pop Playhouse. Mine has a black dot with no number near RIAA. I got in a used shop in 1972. Oh, black label. Okay. All right. Used. Beatles 6 was the album when the Beatles hit the stage at Shea. That's right. Because in stage at Shea, John says, this is on Beatles 6 or something. And they play Dizzy Miss Lizzy. He says, I don't know. I haven't got it. That's what's so funny about that. Probably most fans didn't even own the Help soundtrack yet. That's true. In June, there was no Help soundtrack in the United States until August, just like there was in the UK. But as we know, the Help soundtrack over here was very different than what they got in the UK. And I like that. Miko, hi, Miko. Great find. Thank you. Uncle Paul's Beatles Pop Playhouse. Yes. Near mint, no shrink. Gone in 1972. Oh, nice. In a used record shop in 1972. Wow. Can I ask how much you paid for it in 1972? I don't know. I don't know if you remember. If you remember, I mean, if you do, that's okay. I mean, it's not my business anyway what you paid for it. But it would be nice if you could disclose that information, because I know when. Okay, 50, oh God, 50 cents. Oh man, I don't think I came close to 50 cents on any of these copies. I gotta say to that one shrink wrapped copy of a mono in Rubber Soul that I have, a shrink wrapped mono was given to me. Very nice copy. But then I did find a shrink wrapped in one of the record stores that's gone out of business after 27 years up here in Pennsylvania. Double Decker Records was a great record store. I don't know if any of you, if Uncle Paul, if you've been there, or Mick Olson, if you guys have been there in the past. Double Decker Records on Lehigh Valley Street. I'm sorry, Lehigh Street, St. John's Avenue. You take Lehigh Street to get there. Uh, they're no longer there, but there's these guys that have an audio place right next door. They're still there. It's BEK Hi-Fi. Barry and Eric. You could look them up online. You could tell them Nick, the record lover, sent you. They have so much different audio equipment for you guys out there that'll match any budget that you have. Because I have the stereo from them, I have speakers from them, the cartridge and the needle. I have a Riga P6 from England. Um, Two great speakers. Definitely look them up. BEK Hi-Fi. B as in boy, E as in Eric, K as in Konigsberg, which is their last name. B is Barry. It's a father and son thing. 50 cents. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, that's great. You're great fortune, Uncle Paul. Great, great, great. Let's see. Is there anything to say else about Beatles 6? Like I said, it's my favorite. Does anybody have any favorite songs on the album? Actually, I have my work in 1975 Sears Auto Tone on with still able to get the stylus. Okay. Well, if you could still replace the stylus, Uncle Paul, that's good. If you could replace it, that's really good for 1975. Double Decker Records, where I used to shop, had plenty of audio equipment as well. He had quadraphonic receivers, quadraphonic speakers, quadraphonic amplifiers, quadraphonic turntables. If you're really that much into audio and you're an audiophile, ugh, I wouldn't 100% call myself an audiophile, because I have a very modest system compared to what other people pay for. But like I said, that's to each their own. I've seen Microsoft turntables out there, and I thought that was the computer place that made them. I'm like, Microsoft, but no, those turntables are pretty much on the high end area, and they're in the thousands. But what I have, I'm very happy with, and I'm very lucky to have. Love It Still Works Perfect. That's terrific, Uncle Paul. That's great that it still works perfect. How many speeds are on the turntable? Do you have three? Do you have four? Do you have 16? As well as the 33 and a third, 45. Do you have 78 on it? And if three, no 16. Okay, no 16. 78? You have a 78. Because having a 16 is really that was for what do you call? That was for okay, yes, 78, yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. They make Audio Technica turntables where they have 33 and 45, but if you press that number you press that number down, you get 78 as well. If you just press that number down, you get 78. So I don't have a 78 on my player. Um, Not on mine. And 16 went back with those turntables of record players that used to open up like a suitcase. Because I remember in junior year of high school, we heard Edgar Allan Poe spoken word albums on 16 RPMs. I show my first suitcase record player in my episode 2. Don't mean to plug. LOL. No worries, no worries, Uncle Paul. I'll take a look at your page too. No problem. I'm really glad that you came here and visited tonight. Thank you very much. First suitcase record. Is it a Beatles suitcase record? Because you're sitting on pretty much a pot of gold if it's in good condition. That's something. Let's see. Mick Olson. I think I'm caught up with everybody here. Yeah, probably most fans didn't even own Help soundtrack yet. You're right. Oh no, it's a Steelman. Okay, all right. Not too familiar with that brand, but yeah, no problem plugging your page on here. So definitely check out Uncle Paul's Beatles Pop Playhouse. Mick Olson, I appreciate you coming on. Miko, of course. Miko has a wonderful site, Reinventing Miko. She talks about how, if after 50, if you're thinking after 50 of starting a YouTube channel or getting into social media like that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. If you want to start now, there's no there's no age limit to start a YouTube channel. I started mine just a couple of years ago. Okay, so this is the first live chat that I really had a lot of people answer, and I'm really glad that I used the Beatles VI album, and I'm glad that the thumbnail caught some people's eyes. Would love for me to watch. I just started at age 61. God bless you, Uncle Paul. That's great. That's terrific. You see, you're never too old to start anything. Never. And the most important thing, I wanted to teach a record collecting class years ago, and I just couldn't get enough people. I needed 4 people for the maximum, and I got 3. And I couldn't get a 4th person, so they had to cancel the class. But being that I'm on here now, if any of you were just starting record collecting, and the first thing I could tell you to have with any hobby, whether it be record collecting, butterfly collecting, people do that, bug collecting. The most important thing with a hobby is to have fun with it and enjoy the hunt for any record that you're looking for. Because if you don't find it the first 3 times you're looking for it, that's the idea of record collecting, is to go, look for something that if you think you got everything, no record collector has everything. Trust me. I don't have a butcher cover yet, and I've been collecting since I was 16. So thank you, Uncle Paul, for the subscription. I appreciate it. Thank you. And I don't have a butcher cover yet. Stereo, mono, first state, second state, third state. I don't have any. Let me be fair. I have the butcher cover that's inside the Beatles Rarities album in the gatefold. And that's really the complete photo of them. You see the room and you see the chairs. It's cropped on the LP. Do I still want one? Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I would like one. I mean, Christmas and my birthday, 3 days apart. So in case anybody has a list out there that wants a list, I could definitely email it to you. Just kidding. Oh boy, I tell you. Yeah, record collecting is such a great hobby, and I'm so glad that I found out Beatles VI sealed. I mean, because I didn't know what kind of pressing it is, but then I looked at the catalog. Not the catalog, the pressing plan, and since I figured it was 18, I figured it's got to be a 1975, which is not bad. Not bad to have. And like I said, does anybody? Frank in Kentucky has a lot of real butches. He peels them perfectly. Yeah, Uncle Paul, I know about the people that peel them, and I've seen them at record shows. But the situation is that they never tell you how they peel them. I think that they use them, use specific chemicals and they can't disclose that. But I have seen a tutorial on YouTube of how to peel a second state butcher. Okay. And my God, oh, known as Mr. Stickomania, he steams them off. Okay, steams them off. All right. I've seen steamed copies and you could still see the steamed blotches on it from the iron. But, and some people still sell them like that. See, me, I wouldn't, not with the bumps on the cover. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I'm very, specific. He steams them off. Right. Okay. Is some you could steam them off. Some people, some people back then used to take Scotch tape and just rip the second cover off bit by bit, and you could really botch up the cover that way. Unfortunately, that's it because they showed a picture of a botched butcher, and I think that's in Bruce Spizer's book, The Beatles albums, The Capitol Years, because he does show the Beatles butcher cover, and excuse me, he shows the Beatles butcher cover and how you could really mess up peeling it. So if I had a second state, I don't think I would peel it. But if I had a second state that was peeled, if I had a peeled third state and it looked great, which I have seen, and some people say this is a peel job, this is not a first press, I would get it peeled. I mean, if I could, or a second state, whichever was cheaper. It will be interesting if Capitol does a second US box with a butcher on vinyl like they did with the CD. Well, Uncle Paul, if they do, that's great. But I'm not really going after the first box they're putting out this month or next month for Christmas. I have all the Capitol albums I need of the Beatles. I have reissues. I have original pressings. I don't need them to do what they did years ago with the Beatles box of the CDs, not volume 1 and volume 2, and then the US CDs. I really don't, as a big Beatles fan, I don't need that. I mean, there are Beatle fans that want them, and that's great. I know there's a lot of Beatle maniacs out there. I consider myself a Beatle maniac to a point. I agree, but I ordered it. Okay. All right. All right. No, that's good. I told you. I told you. It's all right, man. I agree, and I would say that if somebody was to gift it to me, I wouldn't take it back. Let's put it this way. But I have the Beatles in mono on CD. I have the Beatles in mono on LP that was released. The analog recordings. I have some of the reissues, the digital ones that Parlophone put out separately from the stereo box set. Those I picked and chose from that. Keeping sealed just for display. I have so much sentiment for my original albums. Great. Good for you. Good for you. Good for you. I'll tell you something about the mono box that I have. I never opened up the book inside. I just completely forgot that I didn't open up the book to look at it. But I play the Beatles in mono UK very gingerly when I play them. It's not often that I spin them, but when I do, I'm very careful with them. I have a brand new stylus, so they all sound good. Me too. Okay. Yep. All right. Really, there's some things there's a lot of people that want the Rubber Soul box set out. That's what they thought we were going to get this year. They might be waiting until next year for it to be 60 years. No, this would be the 60th anniversary of it, and they didn't release it. So I don't know. Instead of putting out Beatles 64 documentary on Disney, like us Beatle maniacs don't know. Okay, definitely in 2025. Okay, let's hope Rubber Soul has a 5.1 surround sound mix because Revolver didn't, and I didn't get that box set because of it. And I'm saying to myself, but it's Revolver. Why don't I have the box set of Revolver? And I'm like, because I bought the 2 CD collection with the remix in stereo and the bonus disc, and I also bought the stereo remix 2022 LP with a stereo mat, the turntable mat that came with it, which is pretty cool. It's a collector's item, so I figured I'd get it. And the stereo mix does sound good. In the beginning, it took me a while to get used to it, but I think it does sound good. But it does suffer from not having a 5.1 surround sound mix because a lot of fans were looking to hear Tomorrow Never Knows in a 5.1 stereo, in a 5.1 surround sound mix. Instead, they made a 7.1 Atmos. I don't know why. I don't know why they made a 7.1 Atmos and not a 5.1. They put a 7.1 Atmos online to stream. And I don't know how you're getting great sound quality with a streaming version of it. Now, some of you may like it. Some of you may have the equipment for that, but I don't. And I'm just cool with the 5.1 surround sound mix because I think there's so much Giles Martin could have done with the Revolver in surround sound stereo. And you agree with me? Thanks, Uncle. I appreciate that. I know some people are going to agree to disagree with me about the Revolver set because some people bought the CD set and some people bought the LP set, or both of them actually, because the collectors. And I have like 5 or 6 copies of Revolver. Maybe that'll be my next. Maybe that'll be my next video. I don't think I've ever. I think I've talked about Revolver. I did. I talked about. Yeah, I have that video about Revolver as well on here about the 2022 remix. And I do have mono copies, stereo copies. I actually picked up a purple copy, which I had when I was a kid. And then that was played to hell. So, pardon the language. But I did wind up getting one in the shrink wrap on the purple label and a shrink wrapped copy of Revolver on the orange label. So that's kind of like maybe 76 to 77. And I've heard that the orange versions sound really good because I in different record chats on Facebook, I've seen that the orange copies sound good. Yes, very nice. Okay. So I have a Revolver on orange and I have a Sgt. Pepper's on orange. So they do sound good. But I'll have to tell you that the stereo subsidiary of Sgt. Pepper's sounds very good. That's very clear. That's very clear. Very, very nice. I mean, the horns on Good Morning are everywhere on that version. I don't know why the original 1967 copies didn't sound that way. I don't know. Maybe it was Capitol doing that. But I do have, of course, monos of Sgt. Pepper's in the mono box, the CD, the original Capitol ones. So my main Pepper is Apple, bought in 1975. Okay, so that's probably in all rights reserved if I'm not mistaken. And that's pretty much just hang on to that one, Uncle. I mean, you're gonna hang on to all your Beatles albums, but I mean, those go for a lot of money. Well, in the last book I looked at, I had a gold mine price guide, but it was very outdated. And those record prices are all collectors prices. They're not buyers prices. I mean, now it's a seller's market, not a buyer's market. Hopefully that will change because I've heard people sell rubber soled mono copies to people for $250. And when I got it for $8, I was like, this poor guy probably didn't know what he was doing when he bought it. And the guy that was selling it to him wasn't really kind to do that either. But I'm all about positivity on this channel, so okay, exactly. Prices are crazy, but could never part with my original core collection. I wouldn't part with my original core collection either. No, there's no reason for you to, Uncle Paul. It means a lot to you. It means a lot to me. Music's my life. Music is a friend for life. That's a blog that I have. If you guys ever want to see my blog, it's recordlover.wordpress.com, and it's called wordpress.com, and the blog is called Music a Friend for Life. I also post on Facebook Live. The soundtrack of our lives. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. The soundtrack of our lives. Yep. I remember where I was when I got my first Abbey Road album on the Purple Capitol label. I was at the Point Pleasant Boardwalk, and my grandmother actually won it for me on the album wheel, which was one win choice for 25 cents. So maybe that was about $2 when the album was regularly like $8.99 or $9.99 in the summer of 1982. So, but those purple copies are going for they're reissues. I mean, they're selling something new. Let's see. Wow, we are both in New Jersey. Well, I'm in Pennsylvania now, Uncle Paul. I'm originally from New York. I'm originally from Jackson Heights, Queens, New York. I was born actually in North Shore, Long Island Hospital. But yeah, I did a lot of my record collecting in New Jersey, though, I have to say. Oh, very cool. Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I remember Now and Then Records down in Hazlet, New Jersey. The first time I ever went was 1985. And the first June of '85, my father took me to the first album I ever bought, my first catalog original album on Capitol Records. I was big into the Beach Boys and copying, collecting Beach Boys records. Got my first Beatles bootleg at Asbury Park. Okay. Was that the Comeback LP or something like that? Or was it live? Um, so the first LP I bought that was an original copy of anything was Summer Days and Summer Nights by the Beach Boys because I knew that was reissued as California Girls. All the reissues were out then, and I was just going for the originals at the time. Even for Smiley, let's see, Sweet Apple Tracks and Five Nights in the Judo Arena. Wow. Okay. Now, how does the Five Nights in the Judo Arena sound? Because I know that really well it wasn't 5 nights, but it was just I think 2 nights. And in August of '66, 5 days, five 5 days apiece. Oh, $5 a piece. Horrible. Oh, hmm. Wow. Okay, horrible. Mm. Maybe someday that they will Capitol will put a specific real Beatles live in Japan with bonus material. I mean, we still haven't gotten a complete Let It Be set. Japan sounds bad. Yeah, I would think so. I mean, that might be from somebody's tape recorder. Um, I'm sure. Uh, some of the, I mean, the real live recordings that we got were the reissues of the Live at the Hollywood Bowl, but I have the 1977 Hollywood Bowl. And I picked that up down in Quakertown, PA, at the Record Revival, and that's my first copy of it. I only bought it like in the last 2-3 years because I never had a couple. I never had a. Oh, hey, I was 10. All right, well, that's okay. I remember those bootlegs being out, my friend. I remember seeing them. I remember seeing them on CD. I bought the one Beatles Not for Sale, and not all of that sounds great. And I didn't keep it. I do have Beatles backtracks. I have, and those are okay. Those are okay. Um, you know, good tracks of One After 909 and True Stereo and stuff. But I'm not one for bootlegs of the Beatles or really anybody because I know the sound quality is not really that great. Sometimes if you could get a soundboard, uh, recording, that's great if you can get that. But other than that, I mean, if it's live, it's got to be officially live. If it's a Beatles album, have all those boots. Unsurpassed stuff was great. Yeah, Unsurpassed Masters on the Yellow Dog. Yeah, those I know a friend of mine had was a huge Beatles fan, huge, huge, and he had Unsurpassed on the Yellow Dog label. Um, and sometimes they would play them on the radio. Actually, I heard CBS FM play a bootleg version of Day Tripper with the original fade out or no fade out. It just slowed down. And also on the Beatles lunch break, uh, you know, was it Heffel Lane was one of the DJs, and before that was Big J Sorensen. He used to do the Friday Beatles lunch break at 12 noon. Whenever I was home during the summer or was on a school break, and I knew a Friday was coming up, I would always tune in to that. That's how most of my Beatles collection started. Um, I would say in the early '80s. My God, the first yeah, the first Beatle Fest I was at was actually 1980. I answered a trivia question. I was 10, and that was when I got the Beatles Rarities album for Christmas that year. And the trivia question was, "Who was the loser?" quote unquote, and I answered John Lennon. And then I wound up getting tickets for Beatle Fest, and my father and I both went at the Trenton War Memorial. I actually went since 1974. Okay, nice, nice. Yep. And what was I going to tell you? Okay, 1974 is when it started. That's right. That's right. And John Lennon even said it at the time. He said, "I'm all for it. I'm a Beatle fan too." And legend has it that he had May Pang go to Beatle Fest and buy up all the Two Virgins copies that were there because he was embarrassed that the record was out. The Lapidus family is only 20 minutes from. Okay, okay, yeah, I know the Lapidus family. I do. I've been in the Fest for Beatle fans many times. But my father and I went to the one in 1980 at the Trenton War Memorial, and everything was free. I mean, the records weren't free. I'm sorry, but the tickets, we just walked up the stairs and went in. I didn't know anybody was famous signing autographs that day because I didn't know like the whole Beatles people back then. Like I wasn't familiar with Mary Hopkin and Badfinger and all the other members from all the other Beatle related groups. But I just saw the films of Shea Stadium and when Ringo took the little girl back to meet the Beatles on the train, they showed that. I looked around at stuff. I actually got a magazine called "We Love You Beatles." I don't know if I still have it. It was a Beatles. It was a collector's book. Beatles a collector's magazine, and it was a good condition, really nice condition. And that was the only thing I bought. I didn't buy a Beatles album that day, such as it is. Yes, was always exciting to see the 16 millimeter films. That's right. Yep, saw them. Oh yeah. And when you go to these things, Uncle Paul, it's um even when I go and I have listened to the Beatles for a while, I go and I sit there, and then when even when the Washington concert comes on, I'm always just sitting there singing along with everything, and I'm a huge Beatle fan all over again. Um, I've gone into other groups over the years, all different kinds of music. So hopefully, when I do more videos or post more stuff up here, that I could share it with all of you, and I've gotten some subscribers tonight as well. Thank you, Uncle Paul, for subscribing. That's the pleasure of the Beatles. Yep, that's right. 76 convention in 76 in San Francisco. Yeah, the ones that they do now are mostly in the tri-state area in New York or New Jersey and Chicago. Usually they'll do the one they'll do in New York like in the springtime, and then in August they'll do the Chicago one, which I haven't been to. And a friend of mine keeps asking me if I'm going every year, but I haven't gone in a long time. But what's cool about it is that I know what the prices are to stay for the weekend if you want, but I only went for a day the last time, and I met Donovan, and I met Chad and Jeremy. I met Peter Asher, and I saw Terry Sylvester there from the Hollies. I met him once before, though. Oh, a March Fest is in Jersey City. Okay, right, Jersey City. That's right. Okay, they moved it. Okay. Um, and I met Denny Lane there that day. Denny Lane, rest in peace, my man. He was a great guy. I met him a couple times, and he remembered me by name when I saw him. It was so great. He was always asking me, "Are you looking out for yourself?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, Denny, I'm doing okay." I have and yeah, very kind. You're right, absolutely. And he signed the first Beatle Fest I saw him at was oh back in 2010, maybe the first time I saw him, and he signed my London Town cover for me. He said, "Do you want me to sell anything else? Sign anything else? Because I got to charge you $5 after that. Every other item is $5." I said, "Sign the cover." I said, "Sign the cover. Would you take a picture with me?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, I could do that." I said, "I wanted one thing signed. I didn't need 1,000 things signed." That was the deal. And Denny Sewell was there, the drummer for Wings. He was there. I took a picture with him. I didn't know he was going to be there. I would have bought the Ram album with me. Yeah, Lawrence Juber is also very nice. Okay, I didn't meet him, but I know who he is. Yep. Okay. And well, it's 20 to 10, and I got to start a big work week, guys. But I appreciate everybody being here tonight at my live broadcast on YouTube. So Uncle Paul, uh, Mick Olson, and Miko Clark, thank you very much for everything. I will definitely check out your channel, Mick Olson. Oh, Mick. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were Uncle Paul. I'm sorry. I just saw. Okay, it was Mick. Okay, Mick. Great. I'm so happy. Thank you, Miko, for another great job. And don't forget to check out Miko's website, Reinventing Miko. Okay, she has some good pointers on how to film your podcasts, your YouTube channels, all different kinds of technology that you can look up, and definitely subscribe to her channel because she gives some good pointers. I will join the Playhouse. I will, Uncle Paul. I look forward to joining the Playhouse. Mick Olson, thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you being here. Miko, thank you. Oh, that's your test website. Oh, great. Thanks, guys. Let me. It's not the test website. It is the website Miko Clark. What is the one that you had? That's the test website. What is the one that you're informing people how to use something? Your tutorial. Can you share that? Because I know that some people can benefit. I know a lot of people can benefit from that. So if you want to share that, that's great. But little misinformation there, guys. I apologize for it. But thank you all for being here. It's 9:40. I got to check out. Got to get to bed. Um, because as Harry Nilsson used to say, "Got to get up. Got to get up." So that is the test one, but it's all over the place. Okay, so guys, just check all over the place for Miko Clark's tutorials about equipment to use for your videos and podcasts and the like. Oh, hey, Ron, I picked up a meat press info yellow sticker cover and disc a couple of weeks ago. They were distributed at the Plaza Hotel in Feb 64. Meat press. You mean to meet the Beatles press info? Is that what you mean? I'm not sure what that means. Oh, okay. Oh, record and disc a couple of weeks ago. Oh, good for you. Good for you. Excellent. All right, guys, I'm going to shut it down. I hope to see you all guys again soon. We'll talk some more about maybe some other records that I just got that I'd like to share with you. There's definitely a Credence one coming up shortly, but I'll let you know when that's coming. I'm just going to surprise you with it. So this is Nick the Record Lover at Nick the Record Lover at Nick the Record Lover 1969 at YouTube. Hey, Abed. All right. Good night, Ron. Good night, everybody. Peace. Enjoy the music. If music be the food of love, play on. Give me excess of it. Good night, folks. Take care.